Yeah, no, we still have a few seconds as we're loading in. Welcome everyone to the stream. Hopefully it does not drop on us like it did last week, so I am watching for that this time around. So welcome to Breakout Racing League's round 2 at Imola. This time we are doing a sprint qualifier, so this is going to be odd since the game doesn't allow us to do certain things. So these guys will get an 18-minute session for all 19 drivers in this case to get down. Maybe one just dropped out of the lobby. Maybe we'll see them jump back in. So hopefully we'll have 20 of 20. But joining me tonight is BWO in the booth. So welcome.
What's up? Interesting to see how this goes as we're doing this for the first time. We've seen it happen in real life, but yeah, let's see what happens with the virtual sprint race and then the actual race for BRL. Got a couple cars leaving already. I have the championship stuff up if you want me to go through that.
Yeah, you can go ahead with that. I think that's a good idea. I just wanted to explain how our sprint qualifying is going to work. So they will be doing a 25%. They will have to do one pit stop in that 25%, and that shall start our starting grid for our 50% race. And this qualifier will start our grid for the sprint qualifier. So there we go. We do have all 20 drivers, and then Biwo, if you want to take us through the championship, I'd be glad to see it.
Yep, with his win last week, Ferrari Nut is the championship leader with 25 points, followed by Taylor Clan. He has 18. Chandler is P3 with 12 points. Manico P4 with 10. P5 is Wraith with 8. Bailey P6 with 6 points. Hey Katra is in 7th with 4 points. Zach the Beast is in 8th with 2 points. And Ron Swanson is in 9th with 1 point. 10th, 11th, and 12th, Luciano, Toneless, DXD. Sprightly is in 13th. Raptors in 14th. Bosscookie and Lewis Fan are 15th and 16th. They do not have any points. Their standings or position standings are due to where they finished last week. And in the Constructors Championship, Mercedes has 40 points. They lead Red Bull by 22 points, who has 18. Alpine has 16 points. They sit back in P3. P4 is Ferrari with 14 points. McLaren P5 with 8 points. Aston Martin P6 with 4 points. Alfa Romeo is in P7 with 1 point. Williams, AlphaTauri, and Haas are tied for 8th, but Williams has the best finishing result out of the three to obtain 8th place. And that's your little championship recap. And the track is busy.
Track is busy. We did lose out Ichigo. I think he collected the wall at some point, but I wasn't able to switch over with the settings here, so unfortunately I did miss that, as a few drivers are getting on their way. It's a Mercedes.
So, in many ways, this is kind of like the qualifying, session that we have for all the tier races. It's an 18-minute session. I need to ask someone. Let's see if he's on the track. I need a weather report.
That's the thing. Since we have 3 sessions, it's going to be hard to see what the weather will be, because the race will be, in theory, a new session.
Yep.
So that could still be wet regardless of whatever reports we have, which will be interesting. We do have some yellows in Sector 3, but that might be guys just backing off a little bit as they're starting their lap. Everybody, I think, is fairly appropriate as they're getting along. Yep. Chandler's setting down a 14.4 to start us off with a mighty time. Ferrari Nut just taking a pace lap to get himself sorted with a 17.4. Same with Sanchez, I believe, with that 17.8. Probably able to do a lot more, so about to see some more laps.
Yep, Lewis Fan was nice enough to be in the fact that I guess he's in the pits, or maybe he's engineering. Oh, there he is. He's P7. Yeah, in the pits. Hasn't gone out yet. He said it's going to be a dry sprint race, so that's our answer.
A dry sprint race. Well, at least there's that. It looks like we have at least a dry session this time. The race could still be wet. We'll have to see. But it might be interesting to see a dry run for all these drivers. Shazam puts himself with a 14.5. Not a bad time. Who else do we have out on a run? Looks like Zach's taking it easy. Minico looks like he's on the mediums, trying to get a run out. Understandably doing a good time so far with a 16.9. I'm pretty sure he can push a little bit more than that, though. Mumu, I think, is on a run.
Yeah, so
Same with his teammate and a few others.
Let's see. I know Drix is about to cross the line now. He invalidated. So far, Wraith is pretty good in the McLaren. He hasn't invalidated yet. And judging by his errors, he is on a lap. And it's up to
That's
P3.
P3.
Excuse me. Yeah.
His teammate's coming down over the line. What can his teammate do on this run? And he goes P3, bumps him down. That's a 14.8 from Mumu. Wrath only has a 15.3, so I'm guessing there's a little bit more from Wrath to dig out there. Zach coming into the pits now. Minico into the pits as well. Anybody else going out on a run? Looks like Ferrari Nuts out there.
Bosscookie, well, he just goes straight to the top of a 14.1.
Good on Bosscookie.
I think everyone else is either done with their first go or in the pit lane. Taylor actually coming to the line. I think he's going to complete his first qualifying lap. And he goes to P4s. So P1, P4 so far for Red Bull.
Pretty typical for the pace that we've seen from the realistic Red Bull and from both Bosscookie and Taylor. So not a huge surprise there. It's good to see Shazam and Chandler up there, but we'll have to see what happens with Mumu and Wrath. The McLaren's doing very well to get up there. Zach needs a little bit more pace to dig, but I think he can do a little bit more than a 15.5, so we'll have to see.
Yeah, I agree. Chandler P2 there in the Ferrari, it's a pretty nice lap there as Zach actually leaves the garage. He's going to come out to do his second attempt. My allergies are by the way. Yeah, we hit that, only 10th at a time, so that Luciano's on an outlap, Ron's on an outlap.
I think Ron's about to start a lap, so that's good. We can watch with them. Not too much traffic out there right now, but we'll see what we can get going for our viewers tonight.
One thing me and Catcher talked about this last night, and I didn't think about it until now. Usually, you have a qualifying Q1, Q2, Q3, and you go out and probably do 2 runs, 3 runs in each session, but there's a lot of times where you're in the garage not really doing anything. Tonight, we're doing 16 laps of a sprint race, which if you do the math, give or take, that's going to be, a 20, 22-minute race? Then we're doing the actual race itself. Does those added 16 laps affect drivers in the actual race itself?
I don't think so. I think at that point, many of them will be already into their line and into their groove. Obviously, a new session might have some differing grip, so some of them might have some squabbles on maybe the first lap or two into the main race, maybe with a little bit more weight of fuel. But besides that, I think we should be okay for the race. I think these guys will be able to make a pretty good train. We'll have to see who can make some good overtakes, especially if it is dry.
Yeah, I mean, if you do the added time, if you add the sprint race and the actual race, it's probably going to flirt to how long Singapore is if you think of that race. And you know by experience, I've not done a Singapore race yet, just how long that race really is.
Yeah, but usually safety cars a lot slower around Singapore, which doesn't help either. But Ron puts down a pretty good time for the Alfa Romeo, a 16.7. It's an impressive time for a realistic Alfa. Puts himself P9 for now. Decent position for the Alfa Romeo. If he can hold that there. See who else might be on a run.
I think Luciano is about to finish up his.
That's a 17.2, but that was invalidated, so they're on another run. Looks like we do have a bit of a train going out there, though. Katra on a run.
Yeah, I noticed he did invalidate, and judging by his errors to start his second lap, I'm assuming that he just backed out and let that recharge. As I think that's just the Mercedes getting ready to go.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. Lots of drivers out, but lots of traffic, so I don't know who's going to be bowing out of their laps per se, or who's going to be giving it all the beans. Mumu getting ready for a lap. Bailey into the pits.
I think Sanchez is just starting one.
And same with Zach. Zach's just on one now as he comes through Sector 1. He's setting himself some good times there. Good personal improvements, so hopefully that gets him a little bit closer. That should put him a 15 flat if he can come down over the line with what he's got. There's some yellow sector flags of Sector 2.
Luciano looped it around. And he's just, he's holding station at the moment. Or now he cuts the chicane, but trying to stay out of the guys who are on a lap's way. I think I saw where, I didn't see exactly where he spun, but you know, the bottom of the hill in Sector 2, if you just don't get it right, or sometimes even under acceleration, the back end just wants to just step out, and you're kind of sort of a passenger at that point.
A lot of these drivers are from different tiers, though, and we're Tier 4 drivers. To be apt, they do have a little bit more of an advantage. These guys are pretty seasoned, and they know what they're doing. CRT Sanchez with a 14.4 as well, puts him up to P3. So that 14.4, 14.3, 14.5 area seems to be pretty close to that front row area. So anybody else putting that 14 time will be pretty happy.
Yeah, one thing, Supply's the only one that's done a time on mediums. Everyone else is on softs. So I was curious to see if anyone would gamble and start on mediums. But you know, I had to ask the question before the race, like, hey, do we still have to pit in this race? I know in real life you don't have to pit in the sprint race, but I mean the fact that this is
unfortunately with game rules,
game
it
rules.
Does not allow us. So we did the best we can, and tier coordinators for Realistic gave out a announcement saying what was allowed, and they did say you must do a pit stop. So that was pretty much the definitive line there. Minico sets himself with a 15.6 in the Alpine, so that's not a bad time for him. Puts himself P11. So we'll have to see who else will improve on their time. Katra has a 16.1 so far. Lewis Fan also with a 16.1. I think he bowed out of that run with no battery.
Yeah.
So that's not so bad from him.
Bailey's just starting his one. He's Spratley's retired. Is that in the pit? No, it is in the pit lane, I believe. Yeah, I would have loved to see if the game can make it work out. Like, hey, can you take softs for 16 laps? Because I don't think you can.
Well, EA, hopefully they will make that for the next game, and we can do some sprint qualifiers and it actually work out. So that would be interesting for next season's campaign for sure.
Yeah, because I've done some practice races, and by lap 13, your softs are just absolutely screaming.
Hey, without the pit stop though.
Hey, with the tire at least hold, because you're basically in puncture range. Actually, probably, yeah, it would be borderline.
Bosscookie's invalidated, so he's coming back to the pits. Who else is on a run? It's the
Actually, Bailey abandoned his run.
The...
Here's Wraith. He moves up to P5. About 6/10, a little over 6/10 quicker than his previous attempt.
So that's probably more representative of what he wanted. Was pretty much a 14.7 flat. So it does a little bit better than his teammate so far. So that's a good teammate rivalry right there. Only 0.2 really between them, if that. Really only 1/10. So
yeah, I mean, you want to be close to where your teammate's running. So that's P5, P6. It's pretty good for McLaren.
It's very good times. I guess Zach just hasn't been able to get out there. Both the Mercedes are up there. Taylor still needs to get out a slightly better lap. I think he's got probably 4/10 to dig, I'm hoping. So we'll see.
Yeah, judging the pace, I don't think we'll see anyone sneak in the top 10 with mediums, as Zach is letting cars yield by, or he's yielding for cars. Let's see, there's Luciano. He completes a lap. He moves to P10. Bosscookie's left. He will try to stretch his advantage over Chandler and Sanchez. Speaking of Chandler, he must have invalidated on his lap, so he's probably gonna have another go.
Some traffic in Sector 1 as people are trying to get laps. So everyone being good. Zach on his way through. Everyone out of the way nicely as they're all trying to get out for that last run.
Yeah, you want to position yourself with a gap, but you really don't want to hold someone up, or more importantly, have someone hit you. Saw in one of the races last week where someone had a 5 grid place. I think that was here too, where someone had a 5-place grid penalty. Let's see what Chandler does.
What does Chandler have?
Yes. It improved. In fact, he was even Sector 1.
Again, he's right at the top of the times. It's going to be hard to improve. I'm not exactly sure where he needs to improve or where the Ferrari can even improve. So we'll have to see what Chandler can push out.
So far, he's valid. He's still valid.
It's a good time. It has traction through all the corners. Has the time that he needs on the board to beat Bosscookie's current time if Bosscookie doesn't improve. But we'll see what happens there.
Yep,
I do see some Red Bulls crossing the line.
Let's see now. Yeah. Oh, he just kept that thing in. Let's see what he brings.
It's just not enough. Just not enough. It's so close, but what a time.
Yeah, I don't think you'll have enough time. I'm waiting for the Sector 1. So that's, who is that off in the grass? That's, I think
Catcher's
Catra.
off in the grass. And
She
not sure they
does-
have time for another run.
She doesn't
Sanchez
have
is
a
on a
front
run.
wing.
Oh, Sanchez hits the wall, but saves it from being out. But that's going to be wing damage, and that's the end of their run. Staying off to the grass to stay out of Taylor's way, but
And Bosscookie just, dang, he just went about 4/10 quicker with a 13.786.
yeah, so Bosscookie, yeah, you're able to dig that bit more. Taylor still on that lap, hopefully able to dig himself a little bit higher to his teammate. Hasn't invalidated. It's a good time so far. What do we have coming over the line? And that's a 14-2. So that'll put him P3. So the second row, just to push down the Mercs. Do the Mercs have anything to retort with that? I know Sanchez is out. Shazam is invalidated, so no. Wrath is on a run.
Oh.
So everybody still got laps to do. And Moo improved. Moo-Moo's got a bit on the board.
I think Shazam did cross the line just the right amount remaining to start another go. Because he didn't have the checkered flag symbol next to his name. He only has one up on these tires, so far he's equal through Sector 1.
Bailey's out. Zach's pulled off to the side for traffic. Taylor goes through. Not sure who else is on a lap, but I think it might just be Wrath.
Notice one of the Alpines, I think that's
Minico?
yeah, off in the Sector 1.
Oh, that was Bailey in Sector 2, I know that, but Minico into the pits. Everybody retiring in pits for the most part.
Couldn't tell who was
Wrath
who.
coming down over the line. What do we have here? That's a 14.5, so a little bit more to dig from the McLaren, but not quite enough to push himself ahead of Shazam, unfortunately.
He'll be the last one to set a time. Cruised by 2/10, actually almost 3/10 to get P2.
Not a bad time. Is pretty much just beat Chandler by a few thousandths, so there's that.
And that's it. We're all done. So
We're all done. So there will be our grid going into our sprint qualifier, our 25% race. Oh boy.
yeah, we know
What to
everyone
say?
I know everyone in the top 10 will be on softs. The question is, what do you do 11th on down?
It might be hard to do the invert strategy, but I can imagine there's a pretty good DRS chain gonna be going around, so it's gonna be hard to get yourself around. Maybe some alt strats will be into play, but yeah, both McLarens, P6, P7, strong from them. Zach P8, Bailey P9. So everybody below 10th will have that alt strategy. I wonder if Minico was maybe looking at that and then bowed out, or maybe the Alpine just not working out so well at this track, as Bailey didn't get much past a 14, so maybe the car's just not there for here. Catra's sort of doing the same, so maybe the alt strategy is into the mind of some of these drivers that think that they couldn't put down the soft time that some of these other tier 1 drivers or tier 2 drivers can do, so.
Yeah, I looked at the info board. Apparently, there's only 2 laps set on mediums in the whole entire session. That was Supply and Minico, and that was their first run, so no one really interested.
I think Hoopalicious is impressed, though. He's happy with Shazam.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Kind of hard to complain about P2. I mean, yeah, you won't be P1, but still, it's a good lap.
Coming off as a reserve, I think, so. Yeah, I think that was a steal for him. And a good P2 performance, as we're just waiting for our drivers to be ready to start the race.
So 16 laps, and for
I thought
Lewis,
it was 18. Is it 16 or 18?
It said it was going to be what 25%, so 50% of this race. That's 32 laps. So I'm going to assume it's 16.
We'll have to see whatever they devised based off kilometers or what have you. So
I'm not good with math. There's a reason.
No, but it's also Cody. Sometimes things are just arbitrary, so we'll see. Yeah, 16 laps, so you're right. As Bosscookie gets us going on our parade lap.
So that's kind of a mixed bag. So Luciano and P11. So both Aston Martins go to mediums in P11 and P13. And then you got Supply and the, let's see, AlphaTauri, yeah, and the AlphaTauri mediums, Toneless Death and Ferrari Nut, both with Williams. They both, I'm sorry, Toneless went on mediums, and then Spratley's on mediums. Everyone else in the top from 11th on to 20th went to softs. So it's kind of a mixed bag.
We'll have to see what does happen with those tires. So there's a tire strategy for you guys on our parade lap. Kind of a mixed bag of mediums and soft runners. So we'll have to see how that plays out. Some of the soft runners might be caught up behind. Some of the soft runners might want to jump ahead. It looks like we have Mumu off, though. That's not good. Maybe just the cold tires. Maybe someone did a swerve and they avoided it. So maybe good on them for that, but we'll have to see.
We haven't had anyone get disqualified at the start, so as Spratley, I think is Spratley in the background that spun.
I'm thinking so. Yeah,
no,
Ichigo's having some issues. Yeah.
Well, I think I saw one of the hosses. They went off in the grass at the second chicane, and then now we have DXD having his issues. So it's going to be a little bit longer wait at the grid than usual, but DXD
and Lewis fans around. Come on, guys, it's a parade lap. Like, I understand the tires are a little cold, but like, come on. Oh boy. Let's see, as they're all getting lined up onto the grid here now. We'll have to see our 5 red lights, hopefully soon.
So who's going to get the precious 8 points?
Precious extra points on the table, 5 lights. And away we go. Let's see who gets a good launch out of this. Looks like Bosscookie gets a good launch. Same with Chandler, as they're all fighting through the corner.
So far it's clean.
Oh, we got some wings off, though.
Wind moves around.
It's not his wing though, so there's other damage going on to the drivers out there. We'll have to try and catch up with what's going on in
Oh, one
the
of the
pack.
Alpines is in the grass.
Battle in the mid-pack, though, is Zach trying to move up against Bailey and Minico and Wrath. Minico making a move on Wrath as Wrath pulls out of it.
Yeah, two cars going side by side through that corner. It's not gonna work.
And that's a virtual safety car, so everyone's going to get a second just to keep it clean. Hopefully we have no more issues. We have,
Spratley's retired. Oh, we
had an accident in the back.
So
what happened back here? Oh my lord, what is with all the debris?
So something in the background happened. Sprightly.
That was all under VSC though. So
yes,
now we have
was.
full safety car. We have full safety car now after all that, so.
So Toneless did get a 5-second penalty for severe collision. I'm going to assume that was under the VSC, and I don't know what happened there.
That was a chaotic start, and I do not know what to say. But yeah, I'm imagining a lot of these soft runners are going to be pitting for mediums. I don't know what the medium runners can really do besides gain some track position, but I'm not sure how much that is in value on lap 2 so far. We're going to have them probably going again on lap 5 with no safety car, so only 11 laps to make a difference, and they'll still need a pit. I don't know what the call would be. I might try to do like a double stop in this if I was a medium runner. Go to softs and then jump back to mediums, right?
Yeah. One thing with the soft guys switching to mediums is, you know, they could be good for the rest of the way. And they've already met the requirement for the 2 different tire compound. The top 3, though, not pitting. You know, we'll see how that shakes out. So Luciano had to replace the front wing as Toneless, he's coming back on. He did serve his 5 seconds in the pit lane, so he got that removed.
Looks like they're all stacking up behind the safety car now, at least, so that's good. Toneless is coming through now on a stack of mediums, so that's good. Lou, the only guy looking at those hards right now. Hard to say if they're going to maybe look at that double stop again, though, so.
Luciano might. I mean, he's sitting P16. He has nothing to lose, so.
There's not a lot of positions to lose. Might as well just go on for another set of mediums if you're at the back, yeah. Catcher, though. I don't know about the soft run.
Well, we're working lap 3, and let's see if anyone does pit indeed. Yeah, Luciano does indeed come in. So does DXD. So let's see what Luciano does. He goes back on to mediums.
What does he go? Yeah, back to mediums. And a new wing for him. So, that makes sense. As they're trying to get on. Toneless makes his way through at least. So that's 2 positions up for Toneless. See who's where after all of that.
Yeah, we'll see if Luciano DXD can catch up. See if the safety car will go in this lap. I think if you're the likes of Supply and Hey Catcher, you probably would like one more lap under safety car. That would help them, benefit them a little bit. But we'll just have to wait and see.
Hopefully nobody took floor damage under some of that chaos, because then some drivers might be a little limp out there, where others are probably able to scream on by. So hopefully everyone's okay after being able to repair wings and such.
I haven't experienced floor damage as a safety car will come in this lap. I've only had one race so far, and I saw 3/4 of the race before I met my end. But yeah, I hope I don't have to feel what it's like to drive with a messed up floor, but we'll see. So let's see what these front 3 do. If they do break away from the medium runners who just came out of the pits. This Nico has had an issue.
It's a bit of a
Nico
gap
is
already.
spun.
Yeah. Bosscookie gets away well. Everybody else chasing them down. Taylor in P3 trying to make his way through on the Mercedes. Not sure if he'll be able to do it this time around, but trying to just warm up the tires in behind.
Yeah, they're going to try their best to get away from Chandler. He's sticking with them so far.
And side by side with Ron and Bailey as Bailey gets ahead of Ron, and now Rath looking at the inside of Ron. Alfa Romeo not quite having the pace of some of these upper cars, but doing a good defense so far, holding on to P9. Did score points last race, looking to score points again this race, so not a bad start. Ferrari Nut in the pits, so Ferrari Nut's really been thrown off with all of this and gotten the worst of it, so we'll have to see how that impacts their race going forward, as they'll be probably starting from close to the back. But, yeah.
Sanchez had a moment at the bottom of the hill in Sector 2. And ran over the curbs. Right now, the front four, they are in that DRS train, and it's Sanchez that's pretty much, he's going to be the first one without DRS once it gets activated. Which will likely be next lap as, one of the Aston Martins is spun. That's Katra. So far, Chandler's keeping him in arm's reach.
Yeah, Sanchez is trying to keep up with them, but he's got Raptor and Zach right there, so I'm sure with DRS we're going to start seeing the impact. Other drivers saving some battery more than others, so we'll have to see how that's going to play out for this longer race. Yes, we've only seen the first few laps. We'll have to see what else is going on. As Shazam goes off a bit, that might be a warning there, so that might play into it too. We'll have to see how penalties work out. Oh, we got some yellow sector flags.
I believe that's...
I think that's just Bailey having a moment. Does Bailey have wing? Oh, Bailey's lost all of it. Having a moment or contact. Yeah.
Yep, Bailey doesn't have a front wing. Oh.
And Bosscookie gets a 5-second for speeding in pit lane. That should shake things up. Bosscookie's going to need to have to get a run ahead of anybody else if he wants to keep this working out for him. So
the Red Bulls had the double stack, had Taylor wait a little bit longer than he would like.
Toneless into the pit with Bailey, and yeah, quite a lot of them trying to jump in for this VSC.
Well, we were kind of wondering how this would shake out, and when those top three pitted, the other one's Toneless. Oh, I don't know if Toneless had an issue or not, but we know Bailey did. But those top three that did not pit, now they're sitting 13th, 14th, and 15th. And they're going to have some serious work to do to get back up front.
Yeah, I'm not sure who, because a lot of these drivers have already done their mandatory stop, and DRS will be enabled. Chandler's away from everybody, so as long as Chandler can get a good run and keep his distance, this could be pole position for Ferrari here at Imola, so we'll have to see.
Yeah, Bosscookie right now on his fresh set of mediums, he is, well, we're waiting for the pace to change with the VSC ending. As, Ferrari Nut's retired, he has crashed out.
So that's not good for Ferrari Nut. I'm not quite sure what's happened there. Maybe just not having the right setup. Maybe couldn't get his setup on in time. Those things do happen. Maybe a wheel issue too. Could be that.
That part of the track is also tricky. If you don't catch the curbs right, or if the car starts to get a little squirrely in that section, it can go away from you. So I've experienced that with practicing a lot, but where I was going to go with that, I had to wait to see if we're going to get a safety car or not. Bosscookie is 8.4 seconds back of Chandler. And he is about 3 seconds back of Nico for 10th place, so.
And yeah, Drix RL making a dive down on Ron, which leaves him kind of defenseless against Moo. So he's going to drop down 2 positions, but still in the points so far. Good for the Alfa Romeo. Still has a good gap to maybe hold himself away from to keep P10. So that is good. Zach far ahead with P4 right now.
Oh,
trying to
Zach
hold
is
on.
spun.
Oh, he's in the wall. Can he get himself going before these guys get around? No, he's just going to wait for them to come through. But that's positions lost for him. That's going to be paying out for Ron as he's back higher up into his standings for that Alpha. So just trying to chase down the McLarens and the Alpha Tauri in there.
Speaking of running someone down, Supply Raptor is catching Chandler. He is on 5-lap softs to Chandler's 5-lap mediums. Going to see as
And Driz RL making that move on Wrath. That Alpha Tauri pulling away. So the Alpha Tauri's 2 and 4 right now, being the big winner of any constructor at this current sprint. So we'll have to see how that pays out for them.
The Supply started, I want to say, P15, P16. So, and he was, I believe, on that alt stretch. So he's made that sort of strategy work so far.
Lou is looking for a move on Moo, but Moo putting up a good defense through the heavily banking corners. Now there's a bit of a gap there again, but we'll have to see. It looks like most of the battle is in this 5, 6, 7 slot area in this mid group. Looks like the top guys kind of leveled themselves out for a gap each, so there is that. Sanchez I do see is gaining and in DRS, so we'll have to see if something can happen with that though.
Taylor Clan picks up at 3 seconds. So far we have 3 drivers that have 3 seconds of penalties, and the Bosscookie has a 5-second for speeding in the pit lane. There comes Sanchez on Supply. He will go to P2.
Supply trying to get another attack out of it. Still trailing, but will be strongly in that DRS if he can stay there. But
yeah, unfortunately he doesn't have the battery.
Doesn't quite have the battery that Sanchez has. Sanchez looking to try and catch up to Chandler there, so we'll have to see. Some more moves going down at the back.
You'd think the Mercedes should have a little bit more pace advantage than the Ferrari, but we've seen Chandler so far in this Ferrari. He has really, he's put that Ferrari in places it was not last season, so we'll see.
Ichigo putting up a good defense against the Red Bull in the Haas, so good on him. It looked like Taylor might have had a moment where he lost out to Katra and Ichigo, but Ichigo just trying to defend his line as much as he can, and Taylor finally makes his way through, but Ichigo still trying to work his way up into a good position for this qualifying session.
Well, if Ichigo can find a way to stay, I know he's got Shazam behind him, but gonna be a tall order. It's no, DXT's missed the chicane. He's lost time. I was gonna mention maybe he could stay attached to Taylor and perhaps get promoted to P11, maybe even a bit more of Bosscookie's penalty, but
Phantom saying my buddy from another igloo in the chat. Thanks for redeeming some points there. Taylor still trying to chase down Katra. There's still moves to be made. It looks like Taylor has that move done. I know Wrath and Moo were looking at something though between teammates. So we'll have to see what's going on here. I don't know if Driz is holding them up. It's a good position for the Alpha Tauris if they can hold that second row for the race.
very good. That'd be a very good accomplishment going into the main race, and they'll get a little bit haul of points as well.
Good little haul of points for the Alpha Tauri team. Good for their constructors, and they'll want to get more. What have you missed? You've missed a few VSCs, one safety car, and we've lost out Ferrari Nut, Lewis Fan, and Sprightly so far, but this is only our sprint qualifier, so I wouldn't turn off the stream just yet. I know we're at lap 11 of 16, but we'll get the lobby sorted just shortly after and get us going
Sanchez
with
to lead.
50%. Sanchez taking with DRS. I missed that. Sorry, guys. I wonder if Chandler is going to be able to make that move. It looks like Sanchez pretty much dumped everything he had to get ahead of Chandler, but Chandler's been diligent to hold on to battery, so Maybe he's going to look for that late dive, maybe to just get back ahead again, maybe to get out of DRS. We'll have to see.
You did the commentator curse. Strix went around. That's okay. I've unfortunately done it as well. It sucks.
Yeah, it sucks, but hopefully they can get back up there. P9's still not a bad spot. Hopefully
No,
they
it's
can
not.
catch up to Ron and maybe get another one, maybe Lou. But Rath's still holding on to the back of his teammate. They're got clean air between the two of them. So I'm not sure if Lou will be able to close up.
Yeah, Sanchez hasn't been able to open up a second gap over Chandler, so Chandler will have DRS this lap, and he will have more battery.
There you go, Port.
35%.
You get tires. Sorry there, Biwo. What you got?
Oh, just gonna see if Chandler's gonna have a go at Sanchez going into turn one. They are on the DRS straight. Chandler closed, but nope, just could not get close enough.
I think he notices that Sanchez is pretty low on battery, though. Maybe he's just trying to hold with DRS, keep up his pace, and then make an attack. But Sanchez, yeah, very low on battery. Going to have to try and make some sort of move. But Chandler right on the back of him.
Yeah, if Chandler, as smart as he is, he knows the best opportunity to make an overtake, barring Sanchez making a mistake, is going to be turn one on the DRS straight. So he's going to try to stay just like that, just as close as he can.
Well,
then pull the trigger.
Sanchez has a penalty.
That's true. I just actually saw where he ran wide. So
yeah.
Now if you're Chandler, you just sit there.
Yeah.
You can overtake him if you want, but
so Chandler's
just sit there.
Pretty much got a safe run for pole position here today. If just hold that 3-second gap. Bosscookie's taking a few penalties on this run through. But making his way through Ron. I know Driz got a penalty, but trying to catch up to Ron Swanson now.
Yeah, Bosscookie now up to 8 seconds, so at the moment he'll lose P7. And I think, let's see, Drix and Taylor have 3, so he might lose 2 positions, so he might not score a point. So Red Bull might not get any points at all.
Ron Swanson still trying to hold out his position, but the Alfa Romeo just doesn't quite have the pace to some of the other cars, but doing quite well. Shazam makes his way through Catra, but probably not the race they wanted, as they're P11 right now after having a good opening qualifier. So there is that. Katja just trying to hold on to the tires, I think, on those softs at this point.
Yeah, well, Katja could be using this as a little bit of an experiment for what she might need for the main race.
Mm-hmm.
See how long these tires go, and hey, how do they feel with their really, really bad wear.
Oh, and Chandler's lost it. He hits the wall, and that's going to be wing damage. He's going to be able to get to the pits, maybe. No? Is he going to just try and limp it for the next few laps? I think so, as Supply Raptor is right on the back of him. But Chandler still had DRS from Sanchez, so has DRS again to try and recover. But that is wing damage.
Oh, yeah, he's definitely got damage. Just when the first chicane there, and just the car just did not grip up, so it's just unraveled for Ferrari.
Yeah, that's not what Chandler wanted. Maybe it would have been the better thing to dive for the pits with the gap that he had, but again, maybe he thought he was going to lose more positions than it was worth and try to hold out what he's got, but yeah.
So this puts Supply firmly into P2. He's 6 seconds to back, so barring Sanchez being in the penalty, I don't think he's going to find 3 seconds with his 11 lap softs, but still,
yeah,
tremendous result by Supply.
Moo having a moment too, so losing out to the Aston Martin right now, so not the race they wanted either. So I did see Taylor got ahead of Ron, but Ron trying to hold to the back of the Red Bull there. So let's see what other battles we have going on. Looks like Bosscookie's on the back of this upper train now, catching up to Moo.
Well, the one thing that Ron will be aware of, and I know this because I work with him, he's very aware of who's around him, and He knows that, Taylor has a penalty. Drix has a penalty. Probably already saw where Bosscookie has. He knows he has 5, but now maybe he doesn't know he has 8. He's very much. Oh, Sanchez now has
This might
6
still play
seconds.
out for Supply Raptor. He's still in that 6
Yeah.
second gap. If he can just close in that a little bit more, but the medium should have a bit more pace. Oh, his boss. Oh, that's Luke going a little bit wide there into, I think that's turn 4. Turn 4 or 5. And Chandler's getting passed by Wrath now as they make their way up into a higher front row spot. McLaren doing well for that P3 position right now. Mumu looking for it.
He's got Mumu and Bosscookie behind him. I think he won't be able to hold them off on the track. Now, he still might be able to pass them by virtue of penalties, but we'll see as, Mumu goes wide. Doesn't get a penalty for that. Taylor Clan now, he has 6 seconds.
They're side by side, but Mumu backs out of it. He doesn't want to fight Bosscookie into the corner here. Rather just stay behind and get DRS. They're playing a few games for DRS. Mumu trying to get ahead, but it's the last lap, so it might have been worth it to fight for it, but Lou just getting ahead of Chandler over the line. Can Chandler get it? Not quite. So 1 lap to go. Oh, Mumu does get ahead with 1 lap left. So there. Oh, but takes a 3-second time penalty. Will that not?
Well, Bosscookie has 8 to Mumu's 3, but the only one that could probably threaten Mumu might be Luciano. At P6, he's going to have to close that gap. Well, Bosscookie and Mumu are still going at it.
Oh, Bosscookie weaving on the straight and cutting off Mumu. A very aggressive defense. So I don't know how that's going to be looking. Maybe the stewards will be looking into some incidences from this qualifier, let alone what's going to come from the race. So we'll have to see.
I tell you, one person that's liking this is Luciano, because he's slowly closing in to Mumu's 3-second gap. Oh, and Mumu drifted out of that.
Tokyo drifts his way through, yeah. But does do a very good save of the car and keeps his pace up to hold himself there. But Lucano taking probably P6. We'll have to see what happens with penalties. I think they're pretty much going to be the big winner overall for penalty-wise.
Sanchez takes the win over Supply. To improve by, let's see if I can find the, no. There it is. Improves 13 spots to get P2. Wraith is at P3. Luciano P4, Mumu P5. So Luciano was able to get P4 over Mumu and Bosscookie. Drix P6, Bosscookie P7. So Red Bull will get a point. And Shazam P8, Ron P9. First of the drivers not to score a point. Chandler unfortunately got P10 after his wing damage, after his spin. Rounding out the rest of the field order, Taylor Clan P11, Heikatra P12, Bailey P13, DXD, Ichigo P14, Miniko P15, Zach the Beast 16th, and Thomas 17th.
Yeah, I have to agree with Hoopalicious in the chat, though, that this is definitely a shakeup of the grid. I wouldn't say a lot of our normal top runners are up there, and some other drivers have prevailed. The McLaren's still putting in another strong performance, so good from them.
So we'll have a little bit of a break. They're going to have to basically reset the lobby. Actually, I think we might have to do a new lobby. I don't know how this is going to work. And then it's going to have to do a manual start of the grid.
I'm sure Taylor will, who is our lobby host, will just set up a 50%er next anyhow, so it's not that big a deal. So that is our order for our sprint qualifier. Now, keep in mind this is only the qualifier, so a lot of these positions can change. There is some points that go to our top scoring group here. So that being said, there is still a lot to play for in this race. Quite a few incidences among the group. A lot of track limit penalties as well in just the 16 laps. So in a full race, we'll have to see how that will pan out to the end.
Yep. So just give us a couple minutes. Raph, look at your phone.
Gotcha. Alrighty. Just giving us a short second for them to set up the next session. Should have no qualifying and off to a 50%, which Taylor's already on the move to get sorted for us. Controller died under VSC. I thought something was going on weird with their Ichigo, so I'm glad you were able to come back for that. P14's not a bad start for a Haas, so there's that. A lot of good positions for some of these drivers in the lower. Ron putting in a good performance for the Alfa Romeo. That's P9, so good start from him. Williams didn't get too much out of it. Sprightly, unfortunately, didn't get too much out of it. But the lobby didn't break, so good on Cody's. Good job, guys. You did one thing, and it finally worked. Pat on the back. Happy for you. Yeah, everybody should be in their already starting spots, so it's just a matter of waiting for everyone to get ready and ready up. I'm sure a few of these drivers are just running to the washroom, grabbing a drink, having a quick break, but we'll have to see what happens in the next race. Will we get wet weather going into this 50%? I know these drivers probably don't want me to say that, but it does have a chance of raining here, so we'll have to see. Yep, we're just waiting on our drivers still to be ready up. It's not a big deal. Just taking time.
Well, looking at the time, so the sprint race, I know there's a little bit of a break between the sprint race and the actual race, but that was about the same as what Q3, Q2, and Q1 would be
Yeah,
because
it should
it's
be about the same time overall. It shouldn't take much longer. If anything, it should be a few minutes shorter if
I
all
believe
things
you'd be
go
right.
well. So I think this has so far been a pretty good layout. I think it's been a good sprint qualifier. I think it's given a lot of the drivers a different chance, a different opportunity into the race. So I think it'd be interesting to include this into more races. I'd like to see what the chat seems to think about it, but we
I
shall
think there's
see.
certain tracks. I think there's gonna be certain tracks where you probably don't want to have one. Monaco probably we don't need to have a sprint race. Just saying, we could see carnage.
Yeah,
I'm
but
talking real life. I'm talking real life, not esports.
yes, but we do have some interesting races coming up in the grid. Oh, it's a little cloudier. I don't know if
It
we'll
is.
have wet. It
Mm.
might just be overcast, but maybe. One could hope that there's a wet ending. I love the wet. It just throws so many mixed things into the race and really throws up strategy, and I love to see how the drivers react. So
Yeah, I mean, I've not experienced. I
everyone
mean, this is
grumbles.
my first season.
It makes for a good race, though.
It does. It does. Well, unfortunately, though, it's cloudy, but no rain.
I don't think there's
But
any rain. Yeah, cloudy, but should be a cooler temp. So maybe those soft runners will have a better run around here. Maybe the mediums will be not as tactical. We'll have to see.
I guess waiting for the lobby to get started. This is kind of like a redo. If you didn't really enjoy your sprint race or, Sometimes you have a race and you're just like, man, I wish I could redo that again. Well, here's your chance. You get to just do it all over again. It's gonna be longer, but it's basically a good Control Alt Delete.
Yeah, I don't mind blowing all the bad luck on a sprint qualifier to do well in a race. That would be an optimal day for me. I'll agree. But yeah, even Axe has been saying we might have two more sprint races, looking at Britain and Monza, and maybe Brazil. To be confirmed. Obviously, they're going to look at it and see if these are the possible tracks that we'll do it at. Maybe they'll shake it up and say, we won't go to any of those places and go somewhere else. So we'll see. But those do sound like good suggestions. What would you think about that, BWO? We did a sprint quali there.
Say the track again. I was looking at
Britain,
the general to see.
Monza,
Britain, I like.
and maybe Brazil. Britain, Monza, and maybe Brazil.
Yeah.
So
I like those three. I mean, first off, they're they're very good. They're competitive tracks for one, and maybe not Monza, but Brazil. We see that to where kind of the engine dependency doesn't really matter.
well, in real life, we saw a pretty good shakeup at Monza. So I don't know.
That's true. Yeah.
But yeah, Silverstone
Well,
would be interesting too.
It
Yeah,
helped
you're right.
that Max and Lewis also had their deal.
Hey, McLaren likes the sound of that. If they're taking a win, I don't think Rath or Mumu would be too upset taking taking that if a Red Bull and a Mercedes decided to crash out in a sprint qualifier. So
Well, as Manico told me, it is cloudy. And so, okay, so row one of Sanchez and Supply, they'll be on softs, right? And then Luciano, P3, P4, and then McLaren and Aston Martin on mediums. Mumu's on softs. Strix is on mediums. Bosscookie, Shazam, softs. That's kind of, yeah, a little bit of a mix.
it's a mixed crowd. We'll have to see how they get on. It's going to be a lot of muscling because there's so many medium runners in the group with so many soft runners in the back. Everyone's going to be fighting for position. We do see a Haas off in the back, so hopefully that's just Ichigo figuring out their stuff on maybe it's just the colder temp of the tires and the track. So game is saying a soft to hard or a medium to hard strategy. I'm sure a lot of these drivers are just going to look at a soft to medium or medium to soft, to be quite honest. So
I think that's going to be the ideal strategy, to do soft medium. Of course, the safety car can always change that strategy that you want to do. But I will say with the one stop, you're going to have to stretch out those soft tires about to lap 13. At least for me, yeah, give or take. You're going to have to kind of just carry them. And we've seen these soft tires, as the longer they go, the more worn they get, the more of a handful they become. So
yeah, we'll have to see as they're all lining up to the grid now. Just a cloudy race from what we've been told. We'll have to see if the game throws us for a loop and maybe pulls in a little bit of rain, maybe gets rid of the rain shortly after. Who knows? Maybe it'll just be a cool run.
I think I do remember a race last year where it rained when it said it was supposed to be cloudy. So we'll see. I think Russia or Dutch was like that. I can't remember. It rained a lot last season.
Sometimes you get those seasons.
Yeah.
Here we go as our race. We do have our 5 red lights. We're just waiting for everyone to be ready on the grid. And here we go, 5 red lights. And we have a jump start from Ferrari Nut, so that's not good for him. You have a good push from both the McLarens.
He'll have to serve that in the first 3 laps, unfortunately, for Ferrari Nut. As Sanchez makes a brilliant start.
Rath getting pushed off and losing lots of positions to Shazam, Chandler, and Bosscookie and Lou, but he's pushing back against Lou. Can he get that position back? Not quite. There's quite a scrum in behind them, though. Trying to see.
Yeah,
oh my.
That's an angry wad of cars.
That is an angry wad of too wide, wide. Everyone's going through the corners. Jeez. What do we have going on?
Yeah. Meanwhile, the Bosscookie's made up a couple of starts since the start of the race.
Contact with Bailey and yeah, Drix. That's not good as they both fought for the corner. Drix getting his front wing tap on Bailey's rear and throwing him out, so that's not good for their start. But no other contact, no other wings, so hopefully that's the end of that. It looks like a lot of these drivers have sort of gotten themselves sorted out.
Yep, Sanchez has supplied by a half a second. Take a look at the intervals. So far, everyone's within the second except Luciano. He's going to want to close in the Chandler if he can. He'll have to lap 3 before DRS is active. Which, you know, Imola's one of the few tracks that actually just has one DRS straight, so.
Which does make it hard for overtaking, but at the same time, if you know how to do it, you can catch people into these corners and make that dive. Bosscookie already catching up to the top group. He's up into P4 already, so that's good for him.
Well, we know he has the pace. You know, he was leading the sprint race until he had to pit with the VSC coming out. And nice little charge though to get back to, I believe it was P5, P6 in the race or in the sprint race.
Mm-hmm. Lewis fan trying to make a move on Zach. Zach trying to fight his way through, having some issue through this back group here. Zach's going to go for the dive on the inside. Can he make this move work? Not quite. Backs out of it. Tries to get a better run on Lewis. He's going to pull in Tolis a little bit closer to them. So Zach getting ahead on the straight there without DRS. So yeah, a lot of these drivers are already able to make moves without it. DRS is enabled this lap through.
Yep, they'll have it next lap. This is when you'll see that be activated. Sanchez has a 1.6 lead over Mumu now. And Bosscookie's also in the framework for P2. Now he's in P. Oh, as Mumu runs wide. Had a moment there. He's going to lose a couple positions.
Mumu having some issues with traction out there today. Maybe just the cold catching them out, but had some issues in the sprint, but losing out spots to Shazam there. More positions.
Yeah, now we'll see.
Traded down at the back.
Now we'll have a direct fight between, well, Sanchez is on. He's got more battery than Bosscookie, but we'll see now. Mercedes and Red Bull with a direct fight. Can Bosscookie close the gap to Sanchez?
Ichigo with the fresher softs is trying to fight the Aston and the Ferrari, but everyone getting a little bit out of order in the chicane here. Zach's still trying to get ahead after having an issue.
Yeah, Zach's trying to claw his way back. Got EXD all behind him. And he's got Katra. Yeah, he's got a little bit of a train to get through. He's going to want to kind of get back to where he was in the sprint race before he spun out. He was going to possibly get that P7, P8 position, but then he had his moment. Alphas are fighting.
Two Alpines are trying to stick together as they're trying to both split themselves through Lucania.
Oh, hey, Katra spins.
Well, that's not good for
damage.
her. I don't see any damage, but hopefully they can just continue on.
I think it was just a spin on acceleration there. So just the back end just kind of stepped out. There's nothing she could do about it, unfortunately.
And Miniko's still trying to chase down Lou, but looks like Zach's starting to get his way around Ron on those medium tires with those better softs and better engine from the Ferrari. From the Works Ferrari, at least. Can
right
Minico...
now the top 5 are...
Go ahead.
No, the top 5s, they're on the softs, but kind of wanting to interesting to see when that cross period happens with the mediums, and you know, does Chandler start to kind of eat in at the soft runners times?
Yeah.
Too far back of Mumu.
And Shazam getting ahead of Bosscookie. So the Mercedes having a bit more pace than the Red Bull at this track, it seems. But Bosscookie putting up a good fight. Supply Raptor getting around Mumu. So they've been fighting it out. Chandler doing pretty good as the top medium runner and not too far off the leader, so.
Yeah, he has Taylor behind him looking to get into P6.
But that's the thing. Could that pay out for Red Bull? They have one driver on the alt strategy and one driver, you know, doing the soft run against the Mercedes, and both Mercedes are on that soft run.
It's not a bad idea to do a split strategy if you can. You basically cover both strategies. As Taylor gets a 3, yeah, you protect both hands. If a safety car comes out and they're opening laps, I know we're at lap 5 here, and guys on the softs, it just covers both ends of the alt strat prevailing, like we saw with Supply earlier in the sprint race. You know, Red Bull, Mercedes, and all 3 on a normal weekend, they have the ability to do that because they should have the pace to get into Q3 just on mediums in Q2. So it's not a bad idea.
And Mumu getting back around Supply Raptor, picking up his pace again. So that's good to see Mumu back on that charge, trying to close back into Bosscookie. But, yeah, Taylor getting around Chandler with DRS, so the two of them just trying to work their way through.
You know, Taylor's the first one to pick up a 3-second. So far it's been pretty tame compared to the initial start of the sprint race.
Yeah, Wrath not having the best start and falling down, but Zach is on to the back of him now, so they're, I think, the closest fight on battle.
Did I miss something with Bosscookie? As Shazam has now gone to P2. However, Mercedes 1-2, and Bosscookie gets a penalty. So he's the second driver to get a 3-second. And Bosscookie's, oh, his driver's not wearing a helmet.
Classic.
Hey, I know you're in Red Bull, but hey, you're not supposed to be doing Mark Webber stuff. Only Mark Webber can do it. I still can't believe he did that.
Pretty insane.
Yeah.
Supply
like
Raptor
Webber's
making his way through on Mumu. So they're just trading with DRS, and what can Zach do? Zach's trying to make his way around now with DRS on Wrath.
I wonder, you know, Bosscookie was a second and a half behind Sanchez. Now, Shazam's gone by. He's maintaining with 2 seconds. I'm wondering if just Bosscookie made a mistake somewhere, or I was going to suggest, does he have some damage? But no, he's actually maintaining the pace with the Mercedes, so
it seems like the soft runners do have a slight advantage with this clouded weather. It looks like they do have that bit of a pace advantage. But we'll have to see how the top runners do. Shazam closing in on his teammate now, so we'll have to see if the Mercedes team can work together. Maybe they can just use DRS together to get a little bit ahead of Bosscookie that bit more.
Say that, it looks like the sun's trying to poke out a little bit, but this cloud cover will help the soft runners potentially run maybe 1 lap more, maybe 2 laps more, in order to make the one stop work. With the track being cooler, yeah, it gives you more grip, but it also preserves your tire life just that little bit more.
As Taylor and Mumu are going side by side into the corners. Come on, game.
You know, I don't mind the first chicane or the temporella chicane, but I will say this every time you race at Imola, as Taylor almost slams into the back of Mumu a little bit, I want to do Tamburello corner once. I want the old Tamburello just once, because why not? Just to go flat, that long left, I just want to do it. I'll never see it, but yeah, and for good reason.
Mumu slowing up is, he's got a few other drivers behind him. He's got Taylor, Supply Raptor, and Chandler all kind of in a tow here, so we'll have to see how that happens. I'm sure there's going to be a few positions swapped around here. Shazam now closing up on his teammate again.
Yeah, Taylor might just be trying to be patient. He knows a couple of laps here, then he'll get the DRS, so that's where he'll look to make his move. I know, yep, Mumu will be on the button, but so will Taylor be, and I think Taylor just is going to have that little advantage.
Oh,
he clapped the wall.
He taps the wall a little. I don't know if that's going to be wing damage. Might just be light wing damage for Taylor, but That's one position move from Taylor to Moo. Doesn't look like a whole lot else has gone on. Zach getting around.
I would say with light damage,
Mhm.
8% damage. Like when it's that little shade of green that gets changed,
Yeah.
means it still affects the car massively. I remember a handful of months ago in a race in a different league, I was working with Bailey, and he had 8% damage, and just the car balance changed massively. So even just the slightest amount of damage can. Well, we saw Chandler. You know, he was missing an end plate, and he went from P2 all the way to. I don't even think he finished in. He finished 10th. So
Yeah, wing
there's.
damage could be a big deal here, especially with it being such a heavy corner track and the different temperature today. So we'll have to see what that might do. Might just slow him up a
Well,
little bit.
the thing with that with Bailey's race, that was at Monza. But he had that 8% issue. Yeah, it's just gotta take care of the car.
Yep, I agree. The softs are probably going to about start to fade out now. But Shazam taking the lead. I don't know if it's just teammates just trading to recharge battery and to pull with DRS, but they are pulling a small gap from the Red Bulls, who are now 3-4. So well, we've gotten them sort of sorted out. Moo is still holding his position in P5 as Raptor and Chandler are still settled in P6, P7. So there is that.
Yeah, battery wise, yeah, Shazam's on less battery. It just could be, maybe Shazam has a little bit more pace. Right now, they're both slowly pulling away from the Red Bulls, mainly Bosscookie, who's on the same tire as them. This early in the championship, a 1-2, I think they finished 1-2 last week as well. I mean, that's a very, very good start to the campaign.
Yeah, and Chandler makes his way through Supply Raptor on those mediums, so it looks like the medium runners are going to have that pace advantage about starting now, so maybe we'll see a little bit more from Taylor catching up to his teammate due to the difference in tire before we get down to that pit stop, so Shazam and Sanchez keep on going, two of them fighting through the corner. That's not gaining them time. It's actually losing them quite a few tenths to Bosscookie. So these guys got to sort it out and be nice to one another, or else they're going to be giving up time, which will help Taylor on that alt strategy being on the mediums. So any time given up is time in his pocket. So we're starting to see a few stops. Zach's into the pits from Ferrari. Let's see.
Let's see what he goes to mediums.
Raph getting ahead of Lewis Fan, back into the points for him on those mediums.
So Luciano went to hards, and Zach went to mediums. Let's see how that plays out. Luciano actually pitted a lap earlier. Who's the Mercedes team principal, by the way?
I believe it might be Hoop, but I could be wrong, but I do think it's that. So
I wonder if nope, never mind. Sanchez, Shazam's in for the first, which means, hey, with your cars running so close, you don't want to do a double stack, so
yeah.
Sanchez will have to go one more.
Bosscookie into the pits. Taylor will inherit P2, as Chandler will inherit P3, as they're all on their way through now. Bailey's inheriting P4 for now, but still has yet to stop on those softs. Looking quite haggard, but doing quite well.
Sanchez went wide in the second chicane, kept it on the track, but he lost a lot of time by doing that. That's going to really hurt his end lap.
Well, that's not going to be good then. Let's see, Ron making a few positions on our pit stops ahead as they're swapping out. Lewis Fan going to hards to the end. I'm not sure that's the call with the weather today. Might be a little bit too cool. But Lou's doing well on those hards as well, so we'll have to see. Zach making his way through some of our pit stops and getting ahead of Drix RL and staying ahead of Katra, so good on him so far. Trying to catch up into the points from P14.
I remember last season, the hard tire here actually wasn't a bad tire. Yeah, Taylor Clan, if I remember in the Mercedes, he was setting fastest lap middle of the race on the hard compound, if I'm not mistaken. So
What was it,
it's not.
sunnier?
I believe it was.
Yeah, that might be the difference,
So you
though.
got
It
a
might just
point.
be the temp. Shazam into the pits now to grab a new stack of medium tires. That's going to give Taylor the lead. So Red Bull back up into that number 1 position. But
Actually, I got that. Yeah, I got it wrong. I believe it was Shazam that had his issue in the pits, not Sanchez's.
as the two teammates come out, and yeah, Sanchez gets ahead of his teammate on that outlap from him. Bosscookie slotting in behind, but Bosscookie gained 2 seconds on both of them. So I don't know.
Yeah, he must have had some really, really good in and out laps. Which,
But,
you know, when it comes to your stops, as Bosscookie about lost it on exit. Yeah, that's good. That's really, really important when it comes to stops, is maximizing your in lap and your out lap to gain the most time. You know, he didn't jump him, but he did gain 2 seconds, like you said. And he's within DRS range now.
Yeah, we'll have to see, as Chandler's also in DRS. The leaders are quite ahead, but again, they're on the medium stint. We'll have to see how that plays out, because they want to keep that gap as big as possible, which is about 16 seconds right now. Gonna put them 10 seconds behind, but with soft tires to the end, it might pay out. Softs are quite a lot faster, so I think there's about a 1.5 to 2 second difference on the tires, so we'll have to see.
I'll tell you, probably what Taylor, Clan, and Chandler don't want right now. I mean, if they get a safety car right now, you can't do softs to the end. So what do you do? So they're hoping that this just plays out a bit longer. So that way, if a safety car comes out, they could just throw on softs and inherit the lead, because they have that gap.
And Bailey taking a position off Ron Swanson, being on those older mediums to Bailey's fresh mediums, so understandable. But Ron's still holding on to points. Ichigo into the pits, same with Ferrari Nut. They're both into the pits now. So looks like a lot of the drivers are still carrying on. We'll have to see when the medium runners decide the pit, but I'm guessing it's going to be in the next, maybe 6 to 8 laps?
I was gonna say 6 to 8 laps. I was gonna target lap 21. Most of them pitted at lap 11.
So maybe you can get away with it with the cooler weather. Maybe they'll be looking at pitting just a little bit earlier for the softs to get that pace advantage. But Shazam and Sanchez still fighting it out. Bosscookie is just 1 second behind, not quite in DRS, but trying ever so much to get there.
Yeah, they've closed about 1.5 seconds, give or take, on Chandler and Taylor Clan. As they swap again. It wouldn't. Maybe they're playing sort of the slipstream game. You know, the car behind has DRS.
Then Wrath and Mumu slot themselves ahead. I think Wrath just gave up the position to his teammate on the fresher, different strat at this point. So good on the team for working together on that one as they sort their way through, not trying to give up any time to supply Raptor or Bailey in behind. Sanchez takes a 3-second time penalty, so that's going to shake it up for them. Ferrari Nut is right on Ferrari Nut's in the middle of Taylor Clan and Chandler Seda, but Chandler has DRS on Taylor, but Taylor does have DRS from the blue flag, so I'm not sure he's going to be able to make a move, unfortunately. Yes, I'm still in the session. You got boot? Yep. As we're getting on, Sanchez and Shazam still closing in that time. About 13 seconds out. They were about 15. They're closing into those older medium runners. Prix RL into the pits on those 12-lap softs. So they're going to go for, I think, a new stack of mediums towards the end. Lewis fan's just going to inherit that position from them, but we'll see how Chandler gets on. Trying to close in on Taylor. Taylor, I don't think will have DRS this time around. I'm not sure if he got it off of Ichigo. Doesn't look like Chandler gets the move done this time around. Doesn't look like anybody's going to get the move this time around. Sorry about that, just had to get my co-coms back in there. Oh, we do have somebody off. Is that Lewis? Having an issue on those hards. Doesn't look like they've taken any wing damage, but they were definitely off for a moment there. Got to clean off their tires a bit and heading back along, so there is that. Ichigo having a moment, but catching the car well as he's trying to catch back up into the main group here. Chandler's still on the back of Taylor. Can't hear you, Bewo, if you're talking there, so. Zach the Beast gets a move done on Toneless, but that's only for P12, so he still has a little bit to go. Chandler not able to make the move this lap around, but everyone gaining a little bit more. Supply Raptor closing in on Wrath. Zach the Beast is closing in on Ron, but still has a little bit of a gap to go. Wants to catch in on those higher medium runners. Still could make some good points today. Toneless doing very well for Williams. Still could be making some good points up into P13, but we'll have to see with all these other drivers. .7 or for 10 seconds from Shazam to Chandler. Sorry. Yeah. Ichigo takes a 3-second. It just probably Cody's, probably just a desync from the lobby. Typical stuff for this game. As we'll see if Chandler, I don't think he got the run he wanted out of that corner. He didn't quite get the traction, but he does have DRS still. I don't think he wants to give up any time to the guys behind, and that's why he's been just playing nicely with Taylor. So we'll have to see. His Lewis fan is a blue flag, just trying to get his way back through, but having a little bit more pace. But I don't know if that's throwing off Chandler a little bit. Sanchez and Shazam are quite close again, but Bosscookie's falling off from them. And Wrath coming out of the pits. Where are they going to slot themselves out? Toneless is on their way through. So they're down to P14 with Lou coming past. It's going to be a bit of a work to get ahead, but on to the fresh softs to the end. See how it works out for them. The fresh first driver to it. Katra following that suit, getting onto the softs. Chandler coming into the pits. So Chandler's done. Oh, takes a 5-second for speeding into pit lane though. So that's not going to help his race, but probably going to the softs as well to the end as Shazam makes their way through. Same with Sanchez. Bosscookie on their way through, but I'm not sure if Mumu is going to get that opportunity on Chandler, but Mumu's going to have a full head of steam. It's going to be close. Chandler's going to come out with softs, though, and we'll probably have the pace to catch back up, but we'll Only have P6 after coming out of the pits. Yeah, and he's just gonna kind of give Chandler the outside line into the corner and let it go. So you're right, makes the smart move about it, wants to just carry on with their race, get their clean air, and move along. So oh, and Wrath is retired in pit lane. Yeah. Taylor gets held up in pit lane, on my screen at least, and yeah. I don't know. I think it might have been because of Wraith being in pit lane, but I'm not 100% sure what happened there, as even Bailey's catching up to Taylor as Bailey and Supply Raptor try to make their way through on Taylor coming out of the pits. And on that fresh soft stint, trying to catch back up to Chandler, but that cost him a lot of time. Like, compared to where Chandler was, it was only 1 lap different, and Chandler's got like a 15-second gap almost. Like, it is a big deal. We'll have to see. I know there's still a few penalties on the board and they're quite spaced out, but even a late safety car could still pay out for a few of these drivers. So, especially these soft runners like Chandler and Taylor, everybody else would pit, and maybe they can still get those positions back, so we'll have to see. It could be a big deal. Ron and Toneless both went into the pit same lap for a fresh stack of softs, both in P13, P14 respectively, so just losing out to, I think, Katra on pit exit there, but quite a gap from some of the drivers that have formed as they're all trying to make their way through. Bosscookie's still holding on to it. Taylor's setting a faster lap now, so yeah, the soft runners are coming alive to the end here. Wanting that extra point for fastest lap makes sense as well, so I can understand. It is tight. I know a lot of these drivers kind of skip over a little bit of the curb, so they make a bit more room for themselves. I know Taylor's trying to get to the back of Moo here. Oh, we do have a Driz RL is out. Drix is out. That is a safety car. What is Mumu going to do? Oh, Mumu heads to the pits. Same with Taylor. Taylor going in for a fresh stack after that run as well. Chandler's... Yeah, but Taylor was only on 1 lap softs. Mumu's got a white screen. That's cool. Yeah, so Taylor's got... only had 1 lap on those softs before jumping to a new stack. To me, it would have made sense to keep going, but we'll have to see. So, question, which Mercedes is going to get the pit? Because now they have to do a double stop. Is that maybe why Taylor pitted the lap before, so that the pit would be open for Bosscookie to also get a stack of softs? Maybe it's a good mastermind from Red Bull. So that's going to be a double stack from them. Where are they going to fall down to? Because they will not be collecting the safety car. Sanchez in now. He gets his softs. He's on his way out. Shazam into the pits for his softs. And he's on his way out. And Bosscookie caught up like 5 seconds to them from that double stack. So he's right on the back of them after that. And Chandler making a good play, goes into the pits to serve his 5-second as well for speeding into the pit lane last time. So he's gotten that off of his chest and onto a fresh stack of softs. So everyone pretty much onto that fresh stack going to the end. Makes them all more relevant. Yeah. We'll have to see. They do have some lap traffic in between, so they do have Ferrari Nut in between them. So there is that. They do have Ichigo in between Chandler and Bosscookie, so there is that as well. Oh, Bosscookie going deep and off onto the grass and coming just back in front of Chandler. So, yeah, cold tires or something, just catching him out for the moment there. I agree, but in the same time, Ferrari Nut's a pretty seasoned driver, and they can handle being at the front of the group. They did win last week's race, so I'm sure they have, or they were up there for last week's race, yeah. Yeah, I really wish we could pass the safety car. It would be nice if the game would let us do that so we could have a proper race, and if you are a lap down, you can kind of get your way through and sort of catch up and still be back by the safety car release, so yeah. 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 I just think it's silly that we can't pass a safety car yet. You know, it's should be a feature in the game that we can do for lap traffic. So, is what it is. Not a lot to show on tires, as everybody is pretty much on the same lap tires as everyone's jumped down to a soft for this final sprint to the end. Right now, Taylor has the fastest time with a 15.8. I'm curious to see who puts down a faster time with everyone being on lower fuel and onto these softs, so... Everyone's gotten a recharge, a quick break. Everyone's kind of sorted themselves through, so we'll have to see who's got the pace to take that fastest lap. Safety car should be in this lap. Should give us about a 6-5 lap shootout. Yeah, he just has to hold on to it just for a few laps. Unfortunately for Wrath, I don't know what they had, if it was maybe a wheel issue, but I really wish they would have stayed, because that safety car could have been a big deal for McLaren. They're going to be losing out on a lot of points not having a driver to be up there on that different strategy, so... I agree, as Sanchez is just trying to get them lined up. Safety car is on its way into the pits now. Shazam's a little bit back due to Ferrari Nut, so it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. As Sanchez goes, Ferrari Nut is trying to catch up, but again, the Williams is not the most pacey car and realistic as he goes out. Shazam's on his way through as Bosscookie wants to chase him down. Chandler's making his way through, trying to catch up to Bosscookie as they're all kind of in a nice file for right now. Taylor trying to make a move on Moo. I don't think Moo's too invested in any fights due to the lack of time penalties that they have, so I'm thinking they're just trying to hold position. Bailey trying to hold on to a good result for Alpine here today. Just trying to warm up tires a little bit. And Moo takes a 3 seconds, so now the only top runner we have is Shazam without a time penalty, so we'll have to see how that pays out. It's not all lost. Supply Raptor trying to gain in on Bailey, but with no DRS, it's going to be hard. I think they'll only have DRS for maybe 1 or 2 laps. So there is quite a fight behind. Zach trying to catch into Minico. And Taylor just hounding the back of Chandler. We'll have to see if he can make that move with DRS, but just is holding to the back. Pretty much the closest fight on track besides Catcher down at the back with Ron Swanson and Lewis right in behind, kind of like an alpha Aston sandwich here. But nobody really able to make a move. Bosscookie's going to take another time penalty, though. That's going to allow, yeah, 12 seconds. So, Sanchez with the fastest lap so far with a 15.4. DRS is enabled for the last 3 laps that we have, or 2 laps that we have, and then our final. So, we shall see. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. 3-second time penalty for Shazam, so everybody in the top group has a penalty. This can still come into Supply Raptor. Zach the Beast has DRS on Minico, but I believe Minico also has DRS ahead. No, he doesn't. So Zach is going to be able to gain in a little bit, trying to get in a little bit more points, but not able to pass Minico this time around. This is potentially Sanchez for the win. Shazam is not pushing his teammate as he was earlier. I know that Shazam kind of had the pace. Maybe just trying to hold off Bosscookie and some of the other good drivers. Zach getting ahead of Minico. Yeah, getting dirt on his tires too. That's going to give up position to Chandler and Taylor. But with that 12 seconds, that throws him quite back down and pretty much almost out of the points. So we'll have to see what happens. If he makes another mistake or something else happens, it could be disaster. Right now, it's not looking good. That's another 3-second time penalty. That's just adding insult to injury. He slows down a bit, probably just angry with himself, but even still, I don't think that's points anymore. So that might be it for Bosscookie, unfortunately. This safety car just unraveled the race for him. And Sanchez takes the win. Mumu coming down across the line. And Supply Raptor getting the better of both of them over the line, over quite a few drivers actually on penalties. So that's P5 for Supply Raptor. Zach the Beast moves up to P6 after penalties. Minico up into P7. Mumu lands himself P8. Bailey P9. And Lou into P10. Yeah, Bosscookie falls down to P13, unfortunately, with the penalties right at the end there. So, yeah, that's just not the way that Red Bull probably wanted to end the race, but that's how it happened here at Imola tonight. So Zach the Beast taking driver of the day. Good recovery drive from them after a bit of an interesting sprint. So it's a Mercedes 1-2 with a Ferrari 3, and Chandler taking that P3 with Sanchez and Shazam. As it stands, yeah, that's going to be interesting to shake up our constructors. Red Bull not scoring again with one of their cars, so we shall see how that works out. McLaren not scoring with one of theirs, so we'll have to see. Lots of different tire strategies going down today with that last second safety car. And lots of track limit violations and warnings going on out there.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I got thrown off my race pretty bad with Lewis fan. We're gonna talk after the race. Just he's new to racing, and so to have this pace is pretty good straight on. But he wasn't off the racing line, and so I couldn't see corners, cut some corners, lost DRS, and it just completely threw me off the game. So I could have maybe done that race no penalties, but it just went downhill. Um, but that with the safety car, and if I had no penalties, maybe could have got higher. But realistically, a podium at Imola from P10 in a Ferrari on just pure pace is very good. So I can't complain about it. Yep, he was still in the race racing. It's just Ferrari Nut did it and Ichigo did it. Those were the other two. I know I drove past none of them, got off the race line, which this even though the car does ghost, it's still a penalty. You can't do it. You have to get off for cases like that. You can't see the corner. You know, if the car if the car went completely clear, unseeable like TT goes when you're within 1/10, then maybe I can see a reason why not. Because at that point it's fine. But because they don't, you've got to get off the racing line. So yeah.
Yes, CRT Sanchez, what an impressive race. An interesting battle between you and your teammate, an interesting battle between you guys and the Red Bulls out there today. How was that for you?
Yeah, it was pretty fun. I was struggling a lot from both lack of practice and just getting used to no line in the race. Uh, Imola's not really that strong of a track for me. Uh, I wasn't really expecting much, especially from the sprint. the original quali being P5 or 4, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, I was struggling a lot, but I think as the races went on, I got just more consistent, faster. Uh, I got less penalties in the actual race than I did in the sprint race, which is funny. Yeah.
So yeah, it was a good result for you overall. Maybe that first sprint kind of leveled you out a bit and got you into that groove. You were saying that this isn't your exactly strongest track, but after maybe a few practice laps, as it were, in the sprint qualifier, maybe that kind of settled you in. So happy for the win for you today, and a good result for your constructors and championship going for round 2 so far. So thank you for coming out, and I hope you guys enjoyed that sprint qualifier for your guys' side as the drivers. But yeah, that should be the end of our stream tonight. Thank you for coming out and watching, and catch us next time with our next stream for our different tiers from tier 1 to tier 4. So we shall see you next time. It's been Wrathful and Bewo, and have a good one and be safe.